Hey guys, Geoffrey here. So over the last few videos, we've been talking a lot about the danger and the toxicity of having a very impatient mind that focuses on a lot of tactics and short-term things to try to trick and manipulate your partner into coming back, and why it actually doesn't work. It actually will sabotage your efforts even more. So in this video, I'm going to go deeper into that topic and show you the 6 key perspective shifts that can allow you to reframe this whole scenario and show you that there is really no need to rush things. And be sure to stick around to the very end of this video, because all these 6 things I'm going to show you right now are some of the most important key mindset shifts that all my clients have made. And once they really fully grasp this and they understand this, that's when they can start to be more patient in their approach. And when they can be more patient, they can start to build more momentum, more of that real internal shift, the genuine shifts that actually, ironically, while it might be slower at first, will give you more results in the future as well. And in case you're new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey, and I help men in long-term relationships or in marriages with the right skills and with the right mindsets to be able to design a thriving relationship for yourself. So if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and also click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And before we begin this video, I also want to let you know that the free masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up is still open. So if you want to join that masterclass, or if you want to submit your application for the Relationship Revival Program, then be sure to stick around to the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can do that. Before we get to the meat of this video, I want to align with you on some key basics you need to know. The first one is, I want you to understand the key essentials, the key factors to building real trust and real safety. And we actually discussed this a few videos ago now, but there's really 4 key ingredients here. One is that it's really not about the obvious things you do, but the subtle things you do. So it's not about the things you say outwardly, but about your micro expressions, micro tones that really counts in building trust. Because the things you say can be easily faked, but the micro expressions you have, the micro tones you have, cannot be easily faked. And it's also not about the planned things you say. So if you script out the things you say, your partner knows here that that can be easily faked. But what's really hard to fake is what you do when she throws you curveballs, the moments that are unplanned. That's going to show the real you. Have you really changed or not? That's hard to fake. And it's easy to fake things when things are easy, but it's really hard to fake things when she makes it hard for you, when things are hard. And finally, it's not about just being right once in a while, but really being right and consistently being right over multiple months, even multiple years sometimes. So once we understand that, we also have to understand here that your partner will want to subconsciously test you. They're not testing you out of a malicious intent, but it's a very subconscious thing where they're not even often conscious of this, but it's simply because they want to see what you do when things are difficult. So they want to see what you do when the moments make it really difficult for you to really fake your changes. So if you haven't seen that video and you're misunderstanding this, I want you to go back to the video that I'm going to post for you at the end of this video or down below this video. And I want you to watch this video because this is a very, very crucial understanding for you to have. So the bottom line is that at the end of the day, it's only your internal changes that really count. And you cannot fake your internal changes. It's impossible to fake your internal changes. And so what happens when people find themselves in the brink of a divorce, or they're like weeks or months away from a divorce, they start to panic. And when they panic, they rush things. When they rush things, they're not really interested in that deep internal change that takes a while to build. And so they focus on these tactics to just appear like they're better or they're good enough, but they're not really backing it up with real, genuine internal change. And the funny thing here is that, most people know their partner are not idiots. They know their partner is very smart. They can sense the undercurrents of their actions. So they also know that they cannot really fake their changes. But because they're falling for this urgency illusion that we call it, they cannot help themselves. They cannot help but focus on the tips, the tricks, the shortcuts, and the short-term techniques to try to change their partner's mind. But understand here, this is a crucial one to understand. A rushed and panic approach, when you're looking to just appear like you've changed, you're using script, etc., like we said earlier, those can never seem real. It can never seem genuine. And this is again why most people fail. So don't tell yourself by saying like, oh, it can't hurt if I try this. No, it will hurt if you try that. So here I'm going to go through the 6 key perspective shifts that can allow you to see this whole situation a bit differently. And I want you to let this perspective shifts allow you to be a bit more patient, allow you to see the bigger picture of what we're trying to do here and understand what is the right path that you need to take actually in this process. So the first perspective shift here is that I want you to understand how to simplify your problem. So a lot of people, when they're having relationship issues, it can seem like they're drowning in a sea of many, many problems. It can be 100 problems all at once. Sometimes it's so overwhelming to the point where when your partner asks you, or maybe a counselor asks you, or someone else asks you, hey, what's going on? Where should we start? You go, I have no freaking clue. I have no freaking clue where to start, because there's so many things that are interconnected that have to do with each other. But I want you to see here that no matter how complex your issue seems, and no matter what your partner says, so she could be telling you right now that the problem could be really, really complex, but in your head, you should understand that the problem is always the same. It's lack of safety and trust. And this is why, if you are familiar with my work, you will know that safety and trust is really the foundations, the base layer of the relationship mountain, as we call it, the 5 pillars. It's always the base layer, because without that, nothing else can really happen. Now, a lot of you may be thinking and seeing this and thinking, you don't understand, Jeff, we have a lot of conflicts here. My partner's having a midlife crisis right now. We're having really bad lack of sex. Our intimacy is completely dead. Or basically any other problems that you can potentially face in a relationship. But here's the key distinction I want you to have. It's never about the conflicts that's the problem. The problem is that you don't have enough safety and trust for your partner to go through the conflicts with you. You don't have enough safety and trust to go through the problems together and actually find a win-win, find an understanding on that. It's never about the midlife crisis, but the fact that your partner chooses to not have the midlife crisis with you, aka the lack of safety and trust. It's never about the lack of sex or the lack of intimacy, but really you don't have enough safety and trust to be able to talk about the intimacy issues as well. So again, no matter what issues you face, the root core is always the same. It's always the lack of safety and trust. So knowing this usually makes people feel a lot lighter, feel a lot more clarity, because now they understand, okay, all these 100 problems that we face, I don't need to tackle them all. I need to fix this one root issue. When we fix this one root issue, we usually fix the hundreds of issues as well. So the first thing, if you want to adopt this more patient mind, is just simplify the process. Just find the root cause, and the root cause in this case I told you is the lack of safety and trust usually. Once we embrace that first perspective shift, we can embrace the second one, which is that your problems are really not that unique. So a lot of people, when they join my program or when they're applying for the program, they find me for the first time, they always tell themselves that their problems are unique. But as we talked about earlier, it doesn't matter what conflicts you face. If all the conflicts you face have the same root problems, root core issues, the root core issues then have the same root core remedies. And usually if you think that your situation is so unique, it's usually because you don't understand the principles well enough for you to understand how to improvise an approach to your unique scenario. And so ironically, when you struggle with this, when you think your situation is unique, that should be a major indicator to you of why you're struggling. Because that should be a major indicator that you don't understand the principles, and if you don't understand the principles, that's why you're struggling in the first place. Because once you understand the principles here, you will understand that it doesn't matter what you face. It doesn't matter what conflicts you face, what resistance you face, what conversations you face, whatever it is. You'll be able to dance around and just effortlessly go through all the problems with the same principles. So just to show you this, an example of this. So in the program, and I've discussed in some of my videos already as well, and the key principle behind emotions is that emotions form not by the event itself, but emotions form when the event passes through your paradigms, which is the programmed way you've been trained to see the world from your childhood, etc. And then your paradigms will color the interpretations that you make about the event. And it's the interpretations itself that causes the emotions in the first place. And so here, when you understand this principle, you can start to understand how you can look at what approaches to emotions management works and makes sense and what tactics do not. And just to show you this, I want to show you a story from one of my clients. And basically, if you read the story up top, this guy has had complex PTSD for a very, very long time, for 9 years now. And he's tried a heavy dose of medication. He's tried counseling and therapy for many, many years, almost a decade, and nothing really worked. In fact, it made things worse and worse and worse and worse. But once he joins this program and he uses the principle here to start to manage his own emotions, to understand how to manage his emotions better, he saw change. He finally, for the first time, realizes that he doesn't need the pills, the medications he's been taking for God knows how long. He realizes that all these tactics of emotions management doesn't really work, that if you understand the principles, this is what will bring you to a method of emotions management that will work. So it doesn't matter here whether you are having PTSD or whatever emotional problems you think you have. At the end of the day, if you understand the principles behind how emotions form and how you remedy it, you will do so. You will do so just fine in a much more potent way as well. And to give you another example here, a lot of the things that our clients face is something we call resistance. And the principle behind resistance here is that, you take an action, and whatever action it is that you are doing right now, and when we have resistance in our relationship, that's simply your partner misunderstanding your intentions behind your action. And so here you might be doing something with good intention, but your partner cannot see your intention. She can only see your actions. And because she's guided by these old confirmation biases about who you are, etc., the assumptions she has about you will color the intent she thinks you have. And so while the action can have a very good intent from your side, that can be misunderstood in a very, very big way. And so whenever your partner resists you, that's simply what it is. It's your partner misunderstanding your intentions from your actions. And so if you understand that, then we can also understand here that no matter what the form of resistance is, or no matter how intense it is as well, the same principles still apply. And if the same principles apply, you can dance through any kind of resistance in your relationship, no matter how intense and no matter what it looks like. And just to show you how this feels like, I want to show you another one of my client stories. And this one's from John. And John here, basically, once he learned the principles behind the frameworks, behind how to dance around resistance, he started to have this euphoric feeling of actually loving dancing around tough truth, around resistance. No matter how closed off your partner is, no matter how intense they're resisting you right now, the same principles still apply. So here, stop thinking that your problems are unique. If you keep thinking and you keep choosing to think that your problems are unique, it will just do nothing but make you feel a bit more depressed, a bit more defeated, a bit more demotivated, because it can be overwhelming. If every problem is unique and you're going to be faced with a million different iterations of what could possibly happen in a relationship, it's depressing to think about learning how to respond to a million different iterations. It's very depressing. And I understand why people don't want to do that. But again, if you think your problems are still unique, then that's ironically why you're still struggling. Again, because that means that you don't understand the principles to allow you to understand that your problems are not really that unique. And once you understand the principles, you will understand why and how your problems are not that unique. You will face that. And all our clients, we enroll almost 1,000 people every single year, and all of them face the exact same thing. I want you to see here that they are very potent, that goes beyond your wildest imagination. That will make you realize just how simple and how common the situation you're facing right now is. The question now is that, are you going to keep thinking that your situation is super unique and that nobody can help you? Or are you going to humble down yourself and finally realize that maybe there's a lot of things I don't know, and once I know this, I can finally realize that my situation is not really that unique. Now let's talk about perspective shift number 3. And this one is really talking about your partner does not care about the product, you being the perfect person, but she cares more about the process. So a lot of men think that when they're trying to convince their partner to stay or stop the process of divorce, for example, they think that they have to prove to their partner that they're the perfect person already. They have changed. And so when you have this thinking, when your partner wants to divorce you and you're on the brink of a divorce, you're going to panic. You're going to feel rushed. And you're going to start to make a lot of promises, a lot of empty promises, because you're trying to prove to your partner that you're this perfect person. But of course, your partner can see right through this. What she's looking for, though, is that, do you have the right process? AKA, do you have the right trajectory to get to where you want to go? Right? So she doesn't need you to be at level 100. She knows you're at level 1. She would rather have you admit it than you be in denial of it. What she really cares about is, do you have the right process to get you from level 1 to level 100? That's all she cares about. And you'd be very surprised at how fast you can not only find and also showcase the fact that you have the right process. Now, I want to tie this very closely to the 4th perspective shift, which is that she expects the right changes, not the fast changes. So again here, most men think that they need to change really, really fast. But I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what we call the 1-month test. So let's say in 1 month, you go to your partner and you say to your partner, "Hey honey, ta-da, I am the perfect person right now. Please come back." Do you think she would believe you? Of course not. She will never believe you. Nobody can change that drastically in a month, and your partner will not believe you, and neither should you believe yourself. Then why are you so obsessed about trying to prove to your partner in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks that you have become this perfect person? Why are we playing the wrong game here? Now, I want you to see here that your partner wants you to succeed. They want you to succeed. They will never tell you this because, again, they want to see what you will do when things are difficult, when things are hard. So they won't make it easy for you, but deep down, they want you to succeed. And after working with thousands of clients, I see this, I know this to be true because every single time they reconcile, their partner always tells them at the end, I always wanted you, I was always rooting for you, but I wanted to see whether your changes were real or not. And they're more than willing to wait. They're more than willing to wait for you to defer the process of divorce, etc., if you can show your partner that you are focused on the genuine change, the right changes, not trying to seek shortcuts here and there, but you're focused on the right trajectory, the right process, and you have found the right process. So just to show you this example, I want to show you an evolution from one of my clients, David. And when David and I first met, I mean, his wife was really, really checked out. She was separated. She was actually declared to him and to the world even that there was another guy in the picture already, that she was in love with this other guy. I mean, it seemed like his situation was quite hopeless, but he found the right process and he showcased the right process. And he also showed his partner that he's not looking for this trickery here and there. He's looking for deep, genuine change. Gave an update on the post here that 14 months later, in 14 months after following the process to the T, that is when his partner started to come back to him. She's giving him kisses now. I mean, their relationship is in a completely different place right now. But again, he was on a brink of divorce. He was on a brink of losing his relationship. In fact, some would say he already lost his relationship. But again, your partner is willing to wait if she can sense that you are up to something good, something genuine, something real, a process that can take you from level 1 to 100. Now let's look at perspective shift number 5. And this is about the fact that resistances and tough truths are actually golden opportunities. They're not threats. So a lot of people, when they're on the brink of a divorce, they know that their partner is wanting to divorce them because they feel really bad. They're going to get a lot of resistance, like stonewalling. They're going to get a lot of gaslighting, maybe a lot of their partner blaming them for stuff, misunderstanding their actions, intentions, and making it really hard on them in general. And a lot of people see this as a threat, and they're in constant fear all the time about the resistance, and they're always cowering away from it. But I want you to see that resistance is actually a massive, massive opportunity. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this topic in this video. If you want to go deeper into this topic, I want you to go to the description below, and I put some links there on how to reinterpret resistance in a much more healthy way as well. But just to rapid fire this, when you get resistance, that should be a good thing. Because the resistance, the interpretations, the bad feelings that cause the resistance has been there in her mind, in your partner's mind all along. Now that she expressed it to you in the form of shutting down perhaps, or even anger sometimes, now turn negative into positive on that resistance that she's been brought up. If she never brought up the resistance, you can never know how to turn it from negative to positive. So think about that. Now, there's also a perfect opportunity for you to showcase your new self, your changes, to a different way you talk, the different way you think, etc. Again, it's what you do when things are hard that really, really counts. And this is the moment that is hard. And this is the moment should be watching you to see what do you do in this moment. So this is when you showcase that your changes are real and that your changes are not faked, and they cannot be faked because you're still your same self when things are difficult. And so when you develop this skill or this mindset of not being scared of resistance, that's when the whole journey of saving your relationship becomes a lot easier, becomes a lot more effortless, a lot more fun. And you won't feel so dreadful and so anxious about things anymore. And you won't be so needy to the point where you are trying to rush things, you're trying to seek shortcuts, etc. Because you like being in the process. Now, the last perspective shift here is that there's really no such thing as too late. So a lot of people think that divorce is really the end. That once the divorce papers are filed, signed, and the partner says the D word, they hired a lawyer, that it's over. It's beyond repair. And the most unfortunate thing is that most men do not seek help until the situation is very, very dire. And when the situation is dire, that's when they seek help, thinking that there's a Hail Mary thing they can do, a last second shot thing, a boost button they can press, but they get really disappointed when they realize that there is no boost button anywhere. But at the end of the day, you need to realize here that your partner just wants to be happy. She wants to just be happy, and she doesn't really care if she's been divorced for a year, 2 years. At the end of the day, if you grow to become the man who can make her the happiest, we see so many cases every single week, every single day of people who've been divorced for a year, 6 months, 2 years, etc., who eventually have their wives coming back to them after their wives had even dated some other people, been with other people, and so on. And they finally realize that when their man has really grown to become this person that is irreplaceable, one, there's really no other men that can really match their level. It's really hard to find people who can match their level. And secondly, that's all they care about. They care about wanting safety. They care about psychological safety, emotional safety, admiration, goal alignment, and sexual passion. That's the 5 pillars that they care about, which are the 5 pillars of relationships. And if it takes you 6 months or a year to get to that stage, to get to that level where you can create all 5 pillars, where you can have the deep internal shifts within you, you'll be surprised at how long they will wait. And you'll be surprised at the chances of them actually coming back. You'll be very shocked. Here's an example of a story by Jason, one of my clients again. You know, Jason, when we first met, his wife really, really hated him. I mean, every chance she got, she made sure that he knew her anger towards him. She hated him. And in fact, she already hired a lawyer. The divorce papers were already on his desk, waiting for it to be signed. And after 3 to 4 months of playing out the right processes here, one day he went to his desk and the divorce papers just kind of disappeared. And he's never seen it ever since. So while this is a moment where a lot of people would have given up and called it quits, this guy didn't. In fact, he's saying here, look, it doesn't change the fact that I'm still going to work on myself. And once he starts to work on himself in a proper way, in a genuine way, he realizes that that's all that matters. All this tactical stuff, the short-term stuff, the techniques, doesn't really matter. What she cares about is just real changes. So just to summarize this thing, there's really no rush, guys. Any rush you feel, feeling of being rushed, is all just made up. You'll realize that not only is there no rush, but whenever you try to rush it, that will actually sabotage you and make your failure into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you realize that no matter how dire you think your situation is right now, you can be 6 months away from divorce or 2 weeks or even a day, your process still stays exactly the same. It doesn't change. And your process should allow you to become really the best version of yourself, the absolute best that becomes irreplaceable, that no other guy can really even come close to playing at your level. And when you do that, the rest really takes care of itself. And if you want to explore this even further, you know, in the masterclass, we talked about the 3 layers of changes, which is mastering the frameworks, mastering the mindsets, and also mastering identity shifting. Those are really the 3 layers of changes that really matters for you to become the irreplaceable version of yourself. So if you want to learn more about that system, on how you can become this person and experience the success that all the clients that I showed you today experienced, then I want you to join me in my free masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In that masterclass, again, I'll show you the exact process that all my students, the clients you saw today, used to get the success that they actually wanted from the very beginning. At the end of the masterclass, you also get an opportunity to apply for the Relationships Revival program. That's going to be my program designed for you to teach you everything you need to know about this system. So if you want to join that masterclass, or if you want to join or submit your application for the Relationships Revival program, then you can click the link above my head, or also down below this video as well. And just also know that we also have a guide for you that teaches you one of the frameworks that we use to allow you to have a much deeper conversation with your partner without it escalating into arguments, fights, etc. So if you want to download that guide, you can also check out the link above my head or also down below this video. And finally, if you want to join a community where my team members are going to be there and they can answer your questions for you, you can also join me in my free Facebook group down below this video. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, click the like button. It really helps the channel out. And also click the subscribe button if you want more content like this one. In the meantime, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you about your questions, thoughts, and comments around this video. But for now, I'll leave you these 2 other videos that I mentioned in this particular video right here, the 2 other videos that I told you to watch. And with that, I will see you in the next video.